Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Multiverse. I'm your host, Paul, joined with Angela.
Hi.
And Rob.
Hello there.
Today is going to be our news episode, and boy, do we have plenty of things to talk about. I know we're pretty eager to dive into the Birds of Prey trailer, because we just watched it. So, first reactions.
Hot the presses. First day. We're on the ball here. You know?
Yeah. No, I shit my pants.
That's why this podcast is brought to you in part by Depends, because you just never know.
Yeah.
So, Birds of Prey, what are we thinking?
So, as somebody who is, I know the Birds of Prey, like, I know the name. I know it is a team of DC. I'm not even sure if they're female villains or heroes, but I know it's a team. And that's about my knowledge. I couldn't name who was on it. If I had to guess before seeing that trailer, I would have said like Huntress. Is that a DC character?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I would have guessed her. Zatanna. And something else. I don't even know.
No.
Yeah, exactly. See,
You're wrong.
So
You're
going
off the podcast.
So going off of that, not knowing anything, I thought the trailer looked pretty good.
I think it looks good, and I think the fact
it does
that
look
it's
visually looked really
yes,
cool.
and I guess the stunt people who coordinated all the John Wick movies worked on this.
That's a good sign. That is a good sign.
So I think if anything is going to look good, stylistically. As far as cinematography, I love the color palette it's got going on.
Mm-hmm.
I love how nobody from Suicide Squad is in it but Margot Robbie.
As somebody who also has not seen Suicide Squad, it looks great. Margot Robbie seemed great in the trailers for that movie, and she seems great in the trailer for this movie.
Yeah, no, she's, I think that she is probably one of the best DC castings they've done.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. I'm disappointed because when I think of like Birds of Prey, I think of Huntress, I think of Black Canary, I think of Batgirl.
Yeah.
I think, they were called Birds of Prey because they were all like
Bird themed.
Things with
bird
wings.
themed.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
And like I want a Harley Quinn movie, but I want like Gotham City Sirens. That's what I want. I want Catwoman, Poison Ivy, and Harley. That's what I want. But instead they're like, oh, we'll just throw in Birds of Prey. It's like, what are you doing, DC?
It is
What
kind of
the
a weird
fuck are
choice
you doing?
because it seems like none of them are birds.
Nope.
Also,
except for like Huntress. I'm excited because like the cast is awesome. Like Ali Wong's in it,
Yeah.
and like, which I'm really happy for. And like there's just like a lot of bad bitches in there, and like Ewan McGregor is in it. But I'm just
That is
like,
true.
what is happening? What is this?
I guess choosing Birds of Prey as a name is kind of weird because it's not like that has name recognition for non-nerds.
Right. It's not
Whereas
like X-Men
Gotham
or
City
Avengers.
Sirens, people are like, Gotham City, I know what that is.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like there would be more name recognition to just like get random people into the theaters. Not that Margot Robbie doing crazy shit's not going to get people in the theaters, but
Right.
I'm just, I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. But then again, what's new? I'm never really feeling anything that DC is throwing me. Although I did enjoy Suicide Squad. It was like, it was okay, But I think I loved her. I loved Margot Robbie doing stuff, and so I'm going to go see it because I like her.
Yeah, and she's such a great
And
Harley.
she's a great Harley. I just like don't know how I feel about anything else, and they're really utilizing her to sell this movie.
Yeah.
Like it's all very Harley centric.
Yeah.
And that's which is
She
cool.
even gets a subtitle.
But
Right.
yeah, but it's just why Birds of Prey? Why not? I really want her, Poison Ivy, and Catwoman. That's all I want. That's all I
Yeah.
want. And DC is like, no.
I mean, if this movie does well, I'm sure they're going to want to try to cash in. Maybe they'll go down that road again.
I don't know. I hope so, but like this is just like I don't fucking know. I don't know.
I like how they have her hyena in this movie,
Yes.
which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And
I fully support that.
yeah, it looks bonkers. When you said the John Wick people were in charge of like the choreography, got me much more excited. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty hyped on
Yeah.
this. I will definitely try to see it.
I'm gonna like. I think when the Suicide Squad trailers came out, we were all kind of like, but this I'm
Remember
more...
that first trailer? Remember seeing that first trailer blind? I was
Yeah.
like, holy shit, this looks amazing.
Yeah.
And then like some of the first reviews start trickling out, and you're like,
Yeah, the very first teaser trailer looked good, and then I think once it started to get more advertising, it was kind of like, I don't know.
yeah. That first trailer was like such a good trailer.
It's funny when you watch good trailers for bad movies. Like I love the well, I mean, maybe it's debatable what people think about Watchmen, but like I love that first trailer that came out with the Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh God, yeah. Well, that was good. So was the trailer for what was it? Baby Doll.
Oh, Sucker Punch.
Yeah, Sucker Punch.
Yeah.
I saw the trailer for both of those at Comic-Con, like in their first ever premiere things, and the Watchmen trailer, he actually cut it to like some Led Zeppelin song, and it was extended, and he's like, I could only get the rights to show it in this room, so it's the only people that ever see it. And it was like, it looked freaking incredible. The people in the crowd were like losing their minds.
Damn.
And then you see the movie and you're like, all right.
I wonder what
that
Led
happen.
Zeppelin song they used.
Oh man, I'm blanking.
Was it, I'm trying to think, was the big ones? Cashmere, Baby, I'm Gonna Leave You, The Rover.
Yeah.
I forget. It was so long ago. That movie came out in 2009. That would have been, I was like 11 years ago.
Holy shit. Babies.
Yeah.
Babies.
Yeah, I was at 2008 Comic-Con, I think, when they showed that.
Damn. Wow.
But yeah, and then they showed the Sucker Punch trailer, I guess, when I was there 2 years or 3 years later.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, I was like, wow, this looks so cool. And then
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever even watched the entirety of Sucker Punch. I like started watching it, I was like, not for me.
Sucker Punch is like a great music video.
Yeah, but like if they stretched one out to 2 hours long.
Yeah. That would have been such a cool like online series, like if each episode was a different song. Yeah, then that'd be kind of cool.
Domino,
That would have been cool.
come here.
Domino's kind of in trouble.
Domino's in so much trouble right now. She chewed on my kimono. Yeah.
Kimono, she didn't.
Yeah.
Oh,
Domino, come here. Come here.
that's the saddest looking dog I've ever seen on a Skype call.
Get over here. Come on.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you could see her. That is hilarious.
I just saw that dog turn its face around like, it wasn't me.
Come on. No. Come here. Hold on.
But yeah,
You guys do your-
good trailers,
Domino, don't
bad
run.
movies. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, there's a whole thing. Could be a whole.
It's a very DC thing.
Yeah.
The first Man of Steel trailer, it looks like a Terrence Malick movie. It was just like slow motion, like hands running through hay.
Oh, I know.
And like just the score. Man, the score for that, like the theme to Man of Steel is so good.
Yes, it is. That is
Like
probably
I still
the...
listen to that sometimes.
Yeah.
Last year I was doing this like mountain race run thing, and I just had a random playlist of songs I like, and that came on after like 9 miles of running, and I was just like, hell yeah.
Yeah. No, that is a great soundtrack to get pumped up for. I mean, how do you go wrong with Hans Zimmer? Like, I don't know.
Can't really.
Yeah, like even Dark Phoenix, that I have the soundtrack, it's fucking awesome. It is such a great soundtrack. We can debate about the movie, but the Dark Phoenix soundtrack, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I feel like that's another thing. It's like good trailers, bad movies, great scores, bad movies.
Yeah, sometimes it almost feels like I see more bad movies than I hear bad songs.
I guess it's true.
Like, I guess, like, I don't know, maybe there's just...
I guess there's not necessarily, like, when you see a movie, if it's a bad score, it's probably just so unmemorable, you couldn't even, like, you probably don't even remember that there was music. Whereas if it's a bad movie in general, you're just like, huh.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, when there's, like, a good score, though, you're just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I'm into this.
Mm-hmm. Totally in agreement with that. We also have some other like big news. It's been a roller coaster of emotion if you're an MCU fan, because of all of the dealings between Sony and Disney and Spider-Man and yeah. So first of all, I mean, we had Spider-Man: Far From Home come out this past July, which I thought was such a strong entry into.
It was great.
Yeah, Angela saw it recently, and yeah, it's great, and it's like the way it ends,
I like lost my mind in the theaters when you see J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh yeah, that was great, and also I think just the Peter Parker identity being revealed.
Is that like just like the biggest cliffhanger we've got in any Marvel movie? I guess maybe
after Infinity War.
Infinity War, I guess, was a big cliffhanger.
It didn't really feel like a cliffhanger though.
Yeah, it
definitely felt like an end, like they lost.
Yeah.
The end. Whereas Spider-Man was like, it's like such a shock. It's like such a shock, and it's a quick shock. It's like Peter Parker, Spider-Man, and he's like, "What?" And then it ends. So that feels more
it felt very much like the end of like Civil War issue 2 when the last page he's like, "I'm Peter Parker," and you're like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah. So I was so sad when there was that announcement that Disney and Sony couldn't reach a deal, because it was like, I mean. Yeah, sure, Sony can resolve that plot on their own, but I want that plot resolved in the MCU, especially where Far From Home is all about gearing up Peter Parker to be like the next Tony Stark, in a way, I mean...
Also, Happy was such a big part of that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was nice. I thought that was kind of a nice... yeah, it served as just, I think such a great way to kind of like... It was a good post-Endgame movie. Like I think it was a nice way to kind of wrap up. It's like an epilogue. So then kind of hearing all of these things about them not reaching a deal, and I was nervous, and I feel like I kind of shouldn't be, because of course they would work out some deal.
Yeah, in the back of my mind, I kind of was just like, it's gonna make too much money for too many people for this not to get resolved.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and I think they knew that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think so. And
there was a point though where like celebrities were just like, man, I can't believe this shit's happening, and I was like, is this for real?
Right. Yeah. It was almost like, yeah, I don't know. I couldn't hold on to hope for whatever reason. Maybe just because I've been hurt too many times. And man, that would have sucked. So can you imagine like the perfection that is the MCU, and especially in how they introduce Spider-Man and stuff, and then all of a sudden they're just like, nope, goodbye. Yeah. Well, what's interesting now with the deal is that, and this broke this week, that they made a deal. It's one more Spider-Man movie plus an untitled MCU movie. So maybe that could be like another Avengers thing. And I guess there's some talk that in that negotiation that there could be some sort of a crossover with other characters on the Sony side of things, like maybe the Tom Hardy Venom and Tom Holland Spider-Man will intersect.
Ooh, that would be
Everybody's
awesome.
got problems, guys.
Yeah,
Everybody's got
problems.
Oh man, can you imagine Peter Parker? He's like looking at the screen. It's like, Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Tom Hardy's just next to him. It's like, psh, everybody's got problems, kid.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my god, that would be interesting, especially because Eddie Brock's a reporter. Like, it ended with him, what was it, interviewing Carnage. So it'd be kind of interesting if, like, I'm on the streets trying to score an interview with Peter Parker, who's got problems, bigger problems than I do. You know what I'm saying?
I got a lot of problems.
I got a lot of problems.
I still haven't seen Venom.
Oh, you haven't?
I haven't, no.
You know,
I'm just going up for that one line in the trailer.
I liked it.
I was actually kind of
I like Tom Hardy, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, Tom Hardy's great and everything, but I think you and I were kind of pleasantly surprised.
Very.
Like, I think you said, like, it's not, like, amazing, but it's fun.
Yeah, it's a very
People
fun movie.
said it had the similar vibe to, like, those middle of the 2000s, like, superhero movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I look back on those fondly, even though they're trash, and I'm just like, I probably like
It
this.
wasn't that bad, though. That's the thing. It wasn't that bad. It was like not as good as Iron Man 2, but not as bad as, like, Fantastic Four.
Okay.
I mean,
You know what I mean?
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think here's what has going for it. Great cast. I thought
You're still in trouble, Domino.
I
No.
thought the effects looked good. Like, I thought they did a good job actually just...
Visualizing Venom.
Yeah, I thought so. And I love that he was from... Well, he was from space, but they did it, like, the right way. Like, it wasn't like some bullshit where, like, it was in Spider-Man 3 where a meteorite conveniently lands next to...
Yeah, like in Central Park or some
Right.
weird shit where, yeah.
The only other explanation I would have been okay with was if they did, like, the Ultimate Universe explanation where it was, like, an actual experiment. You know, so it was, like, government-made and not... You know, whatever. But yeah, no, I thought it was good. And I think even, I can't say his name because it's complicated, but it looked like the score was done by the same guy who scored Black Panther.
Oh.
So it had a pretty awesome
Nice.
score to it. So, yeah, so if there could be some sort of intersect with, like, Tom Hardy in the MCU, I'm down.
It smells musty in here.
Yeah.
We're in a closet, FYI, to our listeners.
That's why it sounds so good.
We're in a closet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it smells like musty.
A closet.
Yeah. It smells like a closet.
I do.
I'm never in here, so I'm like, oh, what's that smell?
Venom is one of those movies that I keep waiting to, like, turn on Netflix one day or HBO Go and just be like, oh, Venom's here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially because Netflix has had Into the Spider-Verse. I'm just like, okay, so there's some Sony movies. It's,
Yeah.
Right.
it's bound to happen.
It'll
hasn't
happen
yet,
at
but-
one point.
Yeah, totally. So I just wish that they would just stick to a permanent deal. Like when I heard they made a deal, one more movie and an MCU Untitled project. It's like,
yeah, and I think Disney's only getting like 25% of it or something.
Yeah.
right.
Whatever,
it's
it's
like-
still going to be a shit ton of money.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like it's gonna make that much more because they're kind of in charge of it. So just
Yeah.
whatever. If they're good with 25%, just let it happen.
Yes. I mean, if I got 25% of whatever that deal was, I probably wouldn't have to work again. And
Of billions of
definitely,
dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
That's all I got. Just billions of the B. Come
I
on,
know.
cheapskates. So yeah, it's really bittersweet because, you know, I mean, Marvel has had a hard time kind of getting all of their film rights back, and it was done out of a state of desperation, you know, because they didn't have the backing that DC had because they were bought by Warner Brothers. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, so that's why I was thrilled that, because when I first heard Disney was getting involved with Marvel, some people were kind of like, oh no, like Disney's gonna make it too kiddie friendly, this, that, the other.
Yeah.
But my thing was, well, first of all, Disney's gonna like put like great talent on it, good money, and if Disney was smart, they wouldn't interfere with what Marvel already had going on, which for the most part they didn't. Like Kevin Feige was still pretty much running that show, and I knew that if Disney got involved, then there was a chance that other properties could come back. And then and then when that Fox deal happened,
Yeah.
you know, getting the mutants back, getting Fantastic Four, so I'm hoping at some point they can, at the very least, just have a deal where, like, just share. The web is big enough for Disney and Sony. They'll catch a lot of money together. Web analogy. Money being bugs.
We got it.
Got it. Okay.
Got it.
All right.
Thanks.
So, okay. You're welcome. So, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, roller coaster of emotion. Not a fan. Glad there's some resolution right now. I think Tom Holland, I don't know if you saw this, Rob, he posted on Instagram the scene from The Wolf of Wall Street where he's like, I'm not leaving. I'm not fucking leaving. And everyone's freaking out. The show must go on. I was like, yeah, that's actually very appropriate because I felt like I reacted.
That would have been such a bummer for him. Not that he's also not making like millions and millions of dollars, but like he seems to be pretty pumped to be playing Spider-Man alongside all those guys. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like, hey, sorry, now you got to hang out with Morbius,
Yeah. Cool. I mean,
everybody's favorite vampire.
well, you know what I was really bummed about? I was like, oh no, does that mean we're not going to get Sinister Six? Like the fact that we got like Vulture and then Mysterio, you know, I'm like, oh God, please make a Sinister Six movie. And then I was afraid, like, well, if this deal isn't going through, does that mean like Sony couldn't, like, maybe they could, I mean, I guess they could use Vulture and Mysterio, but maybe they would have to like not use the way it was done, and like I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of legal mumbo jumbo, but
Yeah,
I would just be
and
afraid.
It's so
like,
weird because I wonder if Marvel intentionally did that. How they made Mysterio and Vulture's like origins so like weaved into the MCU.
oh yeah,
Like you couldn't have Vulture without the attack on New York. You
Right.
couldn't have Mysterio without Tony Stark being an asshole. Like
right. And that was clever. I love they brought back the actor from the first Iron Man with the shaved head.
yeah,
you
the
know?
guy got yelled at.
Yeah, with a box of scraps.
Do you know what that guy is?
Ralphie.
Ralphie. Yeah.
That's
Blew
awesome.
my mind.
Yeah, that's Ralphie. Yeah, that's why they had that throwaway line in Iron Man 3 when he's like, "Oh, I loved you in A Christmas Story," because I guess he was a producer for those movies too.
That's funny.
Yeah. So yeah, but you're totally right, Rob. It kind of makes you wonder if that was like a calculated. Because
it's
I
like,
mean
yes,
those.
good luck rebooting Spider-Man for a fourth time in 20 years.
Right. Yeah, and not yet. And it's funny how they're both products of Tony. The villains are both kind of products of Tony Stark, like Tony Stark fucking him over. Yeah, no, that's really clever. I hadn't thought about that. That's a really good observation. But yeah, no, that was fantastic. But yeah, and I guess we probably should talk about Spider-Man first, then Birds of Prey, so we lead into Joker, but I can't think of a good segue, so here we are. This is what you get when you subscribe to the multiverse. Anything can happen in any order. Joker. The new Todd Phillips film, which, I'll just say this on a personal note. When that trailer first came out, I was so excited, and I got into way too many Facebook arguments about how people being like, do we need a Joker origin movie? Like, people were kind of naysaying it already. And I fell in love with the trailer, especially, and I've said this before, but the notion or the scene where you see Joaquin Phoenix, like, writing in this journal about the worst thing about mental health is, like, acting like you don't have it. Or about mental illness is acting like you don't have it. And that, like, spoke volumes to me. And I was like, oh, man, like, because I feel that sometimes, And then, now there's all this talk about how the incels are interpreting the Joker. And I'm like, oh, God, I don't want to be grouped with them. Because that's not why I got excited. I mean, like, even if I was, like, single... And not
it's the same shit that it's like with the Punisher. It's like, I love the Punisher, but so do assholes in pickup trucks that do racist rants on Facebook Live,
Yeah.
And it's the same character that's wildly differently interpreted. Like,
Yeah, I mean, and I guess we should probably explain, just in case, if you never heard what an incel was.
Involuntary celibate.
Thank you. I was like, I forget what it stands for.
They're basically guys that have a hard time connecting with people, particularly women, and their goal is to have sex, and because they're pretty much walking red flags for ladies, they don't end up having sex, and so they blame, like, women for all of their problems. And yeah, it's really sad. And it's just the whole thing is just so sad, and they're just so easily indoctrinated into a lot of like hate groups and like things like the red pill, and like they're like, oh, it's all just this big feminist conspiracy that's keeping them from getting laid. And it's like, no, you just need to like take a shower and like treat us like human beings and not like you're like sex toys,
Right.
That's it. Like, just take a shower and just talk to us like people.
And there's like that notion too of like they deserve it, they're owed it, they're owed.
Yeah.
And don't they have names too for, because it's also kind of like this from my understanding that there's also kind of this rage against certain types of men. Like, isn't it like a name like a Chad, like, oh, such a Chad, like,
Oh yeah,
like it's
and
easy for them to get
Stacey.
women.
Chads and Stacey's, they're really good at, I mean, and everybody, I mean, it's very human nature to compartmentalize people and categorize people into these like, boxes, and but they kind of take it to the extreme, and then it comes out and manifests itself in like horribly unhealthy ways, like mass shootings.
Right.
So yeah.
Yes, and now that's...
And so because of like the Aurora shooting, that theater in Aurora is not showing the film.
Right.
And people are freaking out and scared to go to opening night because they think that incels are going to like
Shoot the place out.
shoot everything up.
Yeah.
Sorry, yawned while I said that, but
Yeah, I mean, and wasn't too, because the Dark Knight Rises, that Aurora shooting was in 2012.
yeah.
And I think that the killer there was inspired by the Joker, and that he had dyed his hair and all that stuff. It's just sad to think that like we live in a world now where like you have to take in consideration you could be shot at for like.
Yeah. No, I mean, it doesn't, I'm not surprised by any of it. And I know this sounds like really just cynical, but like, I just feel like after Sandy Hook and the no response that happened, I'm like, well, we pretty much said what we needed to say. Like,
Right.
They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit. So yeah, this is our lives now.
Yeah.
So
And then, and even like Warner Brothers released a statement about how, this is not celebrating violence. It's not promoting it. This is a film where we're trying to integrate a discussion about, because what I understand about the movie and those that have gone to early screenings, and this is not a spoiler, and I think anybody could have gathered this from the trailers, is that what makes the Joker is, not just the society, but like, it's like, I'm trying to figure out how to word this. Like, Joker is born out of this character, Arthur Fleck, not having appropriate access to medication, to therapy, to healthcare, and of course, just, how unfairly balanced the poverty is, that there is like that 1%, and then everyone else is drowning and not being able to get the help that they need. And I think it's interesting too that I guess Thomas Wayne is like presented as such an asshole in this movie, apparently, which I think is a really interesting take on it. So when I take into account, those things, about what it's saying, because a lot of those things that the movie's presenting, those themes are so relevant today.
well, it'll be interesting once we actually see the film to
Right.
like circle back to this discussion.
Yeah. But I just don't think they're that I mean, cinema is an art, and I feel like it doesn't take a lot to realize that the beauty of art is like trying to understand life. So the fact that you have these people who are using it as a platform and excuse to take life away is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
it's kind of a shame, especially comic books.
But it honestly though, it could be anything. Like if somebody
that's true,
is
too.
dead set on doing something horrible, they're gonna do it, and
It doesn't matter what movie comes out.
it doesn't matter what movie comes out. They're just gonna do what they want to do, and the whole thing is just really sad.
Yeah, and I'm kind of just tired of like having like the same conversation anytime any movie comes out. Like, remember when people were pointing their fingers at the Matrix?
Yeah, because they had guns and black clothes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's the music. It's it's that band Marilyn Manson's and Eminem's,
Yeah, no.
Even just this year again, they came after video games.
which is like such a tired like excuse for what's really going on.
yeah.
So I don't, and I guess there was also that news report where I guess was it the military issued a warning about the possibility, because I guess they had found something on the dark web about people openly discussing violent intentions when this movie came out. So I don't know. So
Well,
not our most pleasant topic,
yeah, that was a
but
Debbie Downer,
but it's worth exploring because
It is,
we're because here's the thing. If you're listening, perchance, and I don't know. I mean, if you I don't know, you feel lonely or hurt or feel like that you have to take it out on people. Like, I'm just if you just take this from a total stranger, but like there's so many better ways. Life is so much more than just the problem that you're drowning in. And that's not to minimize, what you might be thinking or feeling. For somebody who has anxiety and depression, I think it's easy to get caught up in negative thoughts, especially when it comes to like your, self-harm or, hurting others, but it's gonna pass and it's gonna get better, and it's not the way to. And I know this is so like cliche or like a not trying to get on a soapbox or speak down to anybody, but if there's even the slightest chance that like somebody hears this and takes pause, it's worth saying.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. And I wish, like, for some of these guys, and I hear what they're saying, and it's so easy to like step back and just be like, you fucking loser,
Right.
It's so easy to do that, but like really though, like it breaks my heart because like what they think about women is like, oh my God, it's so painful because you're just like, dude, like you have more in common with us than you like think, like that,
Right.
than you believe. Because like, nobody likes rejection.
Mm-hmm.
And I can only really speak for myself on this, but like I am the worst at dating. I've never been good at it.
Oh God, no. Oh God, no. She is terrible.
I am horrible at it. And like,
I'm just kidding.
No, it's true though. I mean like, I'm terrible at talking to people, and I have put my foot in my mouth so many times just on this podcast alone. And, every relationship I had, like, from grade school up, like I have been rejected. Like it's pretty comedic how badly I've fallen on my face, like trying to get people to like me.
Yeah.
And, all we want is just acceptance and love. That's all anybody wants.
Right,
And
yeah.
you're not alone in that. Like everybody feels that. And you can look at somebody and be like, oh, she's a total 10. She'd have no idea how I feel.
Right.
And you have no idea. Like look at like supermodels. Look at like or women who are just like that type to be on the runway. Like if it wasn't for the fashion industry, these women wouldn't have a place in our society. They look like animal hybrids. And
right.
But it took like an artist to look at them and say, yes, you are beautiful, because literally the rest of society was like, oh God, what's happening there?
Yeah.
But they became beautiful because like just a handful of really eccentric artists were deemed them so, you know? So it's just like, just stop assuming that like, like nobody gets it, because we're all in the same boat.
Right.
We're all in the same boat. We all feel the same things.
Right.
And it's painful and it's hard. So you just got to reach out and talk to somebody about it. Mm-hmm. Like I have a therapist. I can't function without her. And yeah, it's just you don't know somebody's story until,
right.
you know.
Yeah. And look at me, like I'm medicated for my depression and anxiety, and when I got that help, it's like one of like the best decisions I ever made, one of the best things that ever happened to me. And and before this gets dismissed as just kind of I feel like there is a person that I used to know. I want to say, God, it probably would have been 19 years ago. That someone that felt so alone and not being able to connect, and any time making the attempt to connect, which is met with ridicule, it was easy for them to go down that path. And and that person was me. I mean, the crippling lack of confidence, the anxiety. Like, I remember the first time I asked a girl out, right? It took me 3 months to work up the nerve. And when I asked her out, she said, "I thought you were gay." And and it was just, and I think my response was, "So is that a no?" And and for a while there, I mean, I like it's it like I was crushed. I was so crushed. I'm just going to come out and admit it. I was crushed because I was 14, 15. I was keeping a journal, and I like soaked it up, because I didn't have a good relationship with my parents or a relationship with myself. And I look back on this journal, and it's kind of, it's sad that I had these thoughts where I did kind of start to think that I got the shorthand of this broken system where girls just love to make fun of me. Because girls did make fun of me, and I got called ugly and all that stuff. But, so I look back and I see how, like, angry it was. And not to say that I was going to be violent about it, but I think it's easy, especially when you put your heart out there and it just gets so violently crushed. It's hard to not to be like, oh well, there's always there's somebody else. It's easy to be like, fuck you, fuck this world, you're all a bunch of posers and fakes and losers. And again, 14, 15 years old, and but it was around that time though where, thank God, I had this epiphany of like, if I'm gonna have a relationship with the world, I gotta have a relationship with myself, and I kind of just have to focus on something. And 15 years old was when I really started getting like kind of like heavy into comics. And so I think comics kind of became like a way to kind of like pacify and kind of pacify myself, and sort of kind of start picking something, anything, it doesn't matter, where it's like, I know this is so bad to say, but people would say like, what would Jesus do? Because people treat Jesus as this model they want to go off of. I didn't have that. Mine was Captain America. So, I took the qualities I liked about a character. It's like, what? Rather than being just hateful or, just pained about what was going on, I'm going to pick this, and I'm going to like try to, focus on the attributes that I liked about this character.
Yeah. And
then started focusing on, and at the time I was keeping a journal. So then I kind of found that passion in like writing and like kind of exploring acting, and I think life got better for me because I wasn't so focused on like how angry I was at myself and taking that anger out on other people. So I mean, I don't want anybody to think that like we're just saying it for the sake of saying it. It's like I've walked the path of loneliness and anxiety, and I mean, and it's I get it, man. But don't go shooting a bunch of people.
But yeah, the whole thing's just kind of weird that this is like a thing you even need to talk about.
Right.
Like, hey, hopefully nobody shoots people at these movies. Like, it's such a dark and shitty way to think about stuff.
Well,
like,
it's because there's a disconnect because they stop looking at other human beings like people.
Humans?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't realize it's like these are people. They have jobs, they have families, they have like a shitty relationship with their sister. They have, you know what I mean? They have their like best friends. They have these whole lives, and when you cut that, you tear that away from somebody and just kind of see them as like nothing. It's just I have a hard time wrapping my mind around that.
Yeah.
It's like the lack of empathy.
Same.
Is,
I couldn't
hard
even
for me.
imagine. Also, it's like people are in that theater who are like also miserable people, and that's where they go to be less miserable because they just
Yeah.
love going. Like,
They need time out
one
from
of
the world.
few things, like, I've always just loved going to movies. Like,
I
that's
love the movies.
it's like my safe space. It's just like you're like, oh, this is the best. You like getting fully wrapped into a movie, and it's like the idea that people go to movies now and they're like afraid, they're like nervous to just like be in the movie theater is so sad.
It is. It is. I get really anxious in movie theaters, but I think it has more to do with just like so many people. Like I have really bad social anxiety, and a lot of people don't realize that about me, but like I can't handle being around like too many people. It bugs me out, and then I get sweaty, and then I'm like, oh man, am I gonna do, like my stomach starts to hurt, and I'm like, am I gonna vomit, or do I need to go to the bathroom? Like, I don't know.
Or both.
Or both. Oh my god, both is like the worst. But yeah, see, like we're all just people.
Yeah.
We gotta stop doing that, like demonizing each other, because we all like everybody just wants to be able to pay their bills.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also, we gotta stop demonizing each other, but also stop demonizing the notion to ask for help.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I would say I'm very lucky, and I've never really suffered from mental illness or anything like that. But I've been around and have family members and friends, and I've seen how much it sucks for people. And being on the outside, it also sucks knowing that you can't necessarily always help.
Yeah.
Right.
But I do know that for the most part, people who have sought out professional help to just talk to people usually turns out better for them. So that's
Yeah.
just
Oh,
like,
yeah. I mean, it makes your life livable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because the thing is, I mean, for me anyway, like, it doesn't go away, but you learn how to roll with it.
Yeah.
Like, you learn how, like, the best example I can think of is, like, before, when I would say have, like, a panic attack, it felt like I was in a car crash, and then, like, the car is doing, 90 miles an hour, doing somersaults down a highway. Now, with therapy and medication, it's like the car is still doing the somersaults, but I have a seatbelt. Like, I'm in place. I'm not getting bounced around inside of the car. I'm locked in
Yeah.
a secure, safe spot while the world's going crazy, and I just gotta wait for, the car to stop rolling around.
Yeah, and for me, for my depression, like humor has been my crutch for like how I handle everything. So when I do fuck up, and I fuck up all the time, I have to be able to laugh at myself and not take myself too seriously. And being able to laugh at myself is so helpful. But because of that, like I gotta like, I'm open and willing to try anything, and like, I'll try Reiki, I'll try some like, some crystals, like I'll get it, I love self-help books. I'll try like, past life regression therapy. Like it's like, acupuncture, I'll do it. It's weird. I'll try it. Why not? I just, 'cause getting help is so essential. We can't, nobody's in this alone, and you can't do it alone. You gotta, reach out, guys. Reach out.
Also, in the case of a movie like The Joker or other things, there are such thing as cautionary tales where you can see where people go the wrong way when they feel similar ways as you. And
exactly, Rob. That's a great point. Yeah, because this is the Joker is like what not to do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is heavy. This is a heavy episode, guys.
It is.
Remember when we were talking about Spider-Man?
Yeah. This is
Sorry.
heavy.
It just felt important, though.
It is.
To at least kind of bring out, especially because it impacts the comic book world. you know, and you know, because we love comics, we love movies. It's a safe space for everybody. So I'll just say, if you just Google like getting mental health, there's like a ton of websites and like 24-hour support you can get to just talk to somebody. So I'll end it at that. Like, for at least for this topic, on a high note, there is a lot of help around you. You just got to reach out and Google it.
Yes.
And hopefully Joker's a good movie and everybody likes it and it's a good time.
I mean,
nobody gets hurt.
It's getting great reviews.
Yeah.
I mean, it won a, what is it, like, it won a Golden Lion?
Didn't it have a standing ovation at Cannes or something?
For like 8 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, which is, first off, every time I hear shit like that from like Cannes, when they're just like in 8 minutes, it's like, stop. You don't need to clap for 8 minutes for a movie. Come on.
It's not a play.
I don't know, though. I mean, there are some things that are so fabulous that I would stand and clap for like 8 minutes.
I remember right after I saw, I think it was either The Dark Knight or The Avengers, the first one, at like IMAX at midnight. It ended and some guy was just like, yeah, woo. And he just like was so happy and he just walked out of the theater smiling. And I was like, that guy expressed how I feel on the inside.
Right.
I was once in the emergency room with my sister because I think she was having like I don't know, it was something. I don't remember what it was. Like she's allergic to everything. And so we were there so she wouldn't die. And we were in the waiting room because, you know, healthcare.
Yeah.
She's dying and we're in the waiting room. And there was like this woman with her little boy who, I guess the little boy had a fever or something, but she's like telling us like, oh, he's got the voice of an angel. And we're like, okay. And she's like, go on, sing for him. And he's like this little nerdy white boy. And he started singing an Alicia Keys song. And he was like, I don't know, 7. And he's got these like big Coke bottle glasses, this like nerdy little white boy. And he started like belting it. And the soul that came out of this little white boy, and I would have stood and
it was Clay Aiken.
I would have stood and I would have clapped for him for 8 minutes if that were like an appropriate set. But it was in an emergency room in Boston, so I don't think that was like necessary. But he blew me away.
Yeah.
So that kid who's probably now an adult,
Right.
People don't forget. Don't forget.
voice of an angel. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. So yeah. So I would clap for 8 minutes.
Well, I mean, remember we saw Endgame and everyone fucking clapped when Cap was able to lift the hammer. People lost their fucking shit over that.
But imagine if they didn't stop clapping until Tony Stark was dead.
Or they just keep clapping after that. Like Cap is old and they're still clapping.
Yeah. I just 8 minutes is a long time.
I don't know.
Like,
maybe
I get it. Maybe like
good.
a minute. After a minute, I'd be like, all right, I think he gets it. It's a good movie. Let's sit down. Maybe they got something to say.
I don't know. Like, have you seen Grace Jones? That's like an 8 minute standing ovation. Just her.
I don't know. It's 8 minutes seems like a long time.
All right, we gotta. That's the goal. Find something that you would give a standing ovation for 8 minutes for. I'm gonna find that thing for you.
It's just a lot.
It's a lot of clapping. It's a lot of energy exerted. But,
I hope one day to be so floored by something that I need to clap for 8 minutes.
Like, yes! Yes!
That's like the length of 3 songs. Like, imagine if a band played a song you liked so much that you clapped through the next 3 songs they played.
Yeah. That's amazing. And damn.
But yeah, maybe the Joker is in fact that good, in which case if it is that good, I will stand in my showcase cinema for 8 minutes and clap until the guy walks into the trash sweeper and it's just like looking at me weird. He's like, there's no after credit scenes.
Yeah. Also, you done with your popcorn? God, yeah. No, but I mean, it looks good, and I love the Scorsese-ness.
It feels like Taxi Driver. It's like the vibe
love
it gives
the color
off.
palette.
Oh, yeah.
Love the color palette of this movie. I'm so excited to see it.
Yeah. And you get Robert De Niro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, who's like fantastic. Yeah, it's...
Joaquin.
Yeah.
You like that?
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm going to clap for 8 minutes now.
Good.
Man, I don't even know how far we are into this show because of that little interruption.
Whatever.
So I don't know if it's too early to dive into what we've been doing, what we've been reading.
On something
I think it's probably about that time.
It's her toy.
It's her toy Banana. So
Yeah,
she's
cool.
not chewing on mommy's kimono because that's
Good.
fucked up. I got it from this guy in Hokkaido. It's so pretty. She didn't do that much damage, but it's like the bottom corner of it now is like, ugh, you have a dog.
Yeah, I mean,
Damn it.
you could say you got it in a samurai battle.
No, that's racist.
I'm just trying to make you feel better.
Yeah, she bit through it. Oh, man. Well, whatever.
I'll buy you a new one.
It's okay. I can get my...
Paul, what have you been reading?
I have been reading shit. It's still X-Men. Although I did kind of
like the last year, you're just
2 years.
X-Men.
I've been reading X-Men for 2 years, but that's because I was.
There's a lot of X-Men.
There's
to
a
read,
lot
though.
of fucking X-Men, and I've learned a lot. And so I'm in the 90s now, which is like amazing. The fact that I read like from 1963 up to like 1997.
That's amazing.
I feel like in the 90s, though, there is as many X-Men books that were released from 1960 to 1990.
Oh my
Probably,
god!
yeah.
Well, you know what? It was so
wild.
much easier when it was just the one book, and then because then it was like, oh, now there's like New Mutants, then there's X Factor and X-Force and like Generation X and
Gen X, yeah.
but there was an X Factor and an X-Force and
No, I know.
Oh.
I know. That's what I was saying. Like, because
Yeah.
I was adding to it because I was like, yeah, there's a lot you're reading.
yeah,
man.
and in the 90s, man, you had 3 major events. You had Legion Quest, Age of Apocalypse, and Onslaught, which is like back to back. And it's just like fucking hell, man. It's just busy. So I took a slight break, but I still wanted to read X-Men, and I'm currently reading the Jonathan Hickman stuff. So I read the Matt Rosenberg stuff right before it, where they kind of bring back Cyclops, and it's interesting because
so I've also only kind of been reading the Hickman stuff, and I reread some of the prior stuff, like when they brought back Phoenix, and I was like,
yeah, it's not the best. Though I do love that, like the X-Men. So in the early comics, there's I think it's called like Harry's Hideaway. It's like a local like pub like in Winchester County that the X-Men would like go to, and so at one point that's just where they're living, like in this bar. And all I could think of, like, It's Always Sunny, like, the gang fights Magneto. Or, you know, like, that's just what it... Yeah. It just sort of felt like It's Always Sunny in X-Men. Yeah, so... Yeah, so that's really been all I've been reading.
I think we should do an episode about the Hickman run when it's over, because I remember we did one after the just the first issues had come out.
And
but
we
it's
were like, we don't know what's happening.
Real. I know, we were like, what the hell's going on? And I feel like I kind of know what's going on now.
I know, yeah, there's definitely more material to cobble together. And there's only 2 issues left. There's one out tomorrow and then next week, and then that's it. And it's funny because it didn't start in July? Like, end of July?
Yeah.
It was like, it was in the summer.
Right.
Like, it was like late July.
It's been quick.
Yeah. Like, I remember thinking, oh man, starting in July is going to wrap up in October? That's so far away. And it's like, fuck, it's here. Or at least August and September. Like, it went by really quick.
Yeah. It's real good, though.
It is.
I'm, like, really into it. So I'm very excited to talk about it when it's all over.
I am too, yeah. That'll definitely be an upcoming episode. How about you, Rob? What have you been checking out this week?
So, comic-wise, it's just X-Men. I've just been keeping up with Powers and House of X. I haven't had too much time to do much. My wife has never seen Dexter, so we're watching the show Dexter.
Oh,
Jesus.
Dexter's Laboratory?
No.
The other one about a
The other
homicidal
one.
maniac.
Oh. Well, Dexter's Laboratory is really good, too.
It is good. But it's on like Netflix, and I remember liking that show back in the day. I don't think I ever saw the end of it. I heard it was bad, but
yeah.
You know, figured we'd watch everybody's favorite serial killer and, you know, see how she likes it.
I like the first... I liked it, but I had to stop because it was too stressful.
I think it ends with that Dexter, like, flying a dragon into fucking King's Landing and Jon Snow stabbing him.
He destroys
something like
Miami.
Oh, right.
Dragon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we're on the end of the third season now, and it's it's a good watch.
Cool.
It's some good old fashioned silly serial killer fun.
Nice. That does remind me, speaking of Netflix, the Breaking Bad movie is coming out.
Oh my god, I'm so pumped.
Yeah, have you seen the latest trailer?
I did.
Oh, looks good. That was, what's funny? That's my one complaint about the ending of Breaking Bad. It was like, really? Jesse just drives off and that's it? We've seen him go through all this shit and that's his, like, it just didn't feel like it was like, but it makes sense because it was mainly more of Walter's story. So I'm glad that Jesse's like getting like what I feel is probably like a super long Breaking Bad episode. And I'm here for it.
They have Badger and what's the other dude's name? I always remember Badger and I always forget the other guy's name.
I don't know. Was it like Scully or no? Not Scully.
Scully. I'm gonna do a quick Google. Badger and Skinny Pete.
Skinny Pete.
Skinny Pete.
And it was a sk sound. Scully.
They're
Skinny
back.
Pete.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, it looks good though.
But yeah, I'm very excited with it. I'm thinking about watching like maybe the last season of Breaking Bad in anticipation.
You should.
I definitely can't watch the whole show, but maybe I'll like Google like a greatest hits list and rewatch some of those.
See, that's the great thing about Breaking Bad. As far as I'm concerned, that show was perfect, even down to its ending. Which is why I always hate the excuse like, well, they didn't like the ending because people don't like endings. No, because Breaking Bad had a fucking swan dive of an ending, and stuck the landing.
I totally agree. I think Breaking Bad was one of the like few start to finish perfect shows. Like there was never a time where I was like, meh, I'm not into it. I was just in it.
Each episode was so well crafted, so well executed, and anytime you thought that they wrote themselves into a corner. Like, how they maneuvered out of it, like, it never felt cheap. That was always the thing I was amazed by, like, how in the fuck are they gonna get out of this? And then it was so well thought out and so well done that it just so yeah. Anyway.
I haven't watched Better Call Saul, and it makes me sad, because I know I would love it, and I've heard really good things.
It's really good. I'm a little behind, but it's really good. Like, it is, again, one of those cases where you, like, where you had such a strong, successful spin-off that it literally can stand on its own merit and and not like it feels like it's its own show and not that's spin-off.
I've watched the first episode of Better Call Saul like a ton of times like to try to watch it, and I like it every time, but then something comes up where I'm just like I don't have time or something, and I
have a baby.
I do it now. I have a baby. That's a
like it's saying now, Rob, we gotta go to the hospital. Not now. Let's watch episode 2 of Saul. Better Call Saul. Rob, you better call an ambulance right now.
It's not even like that. It's just like this child needs just all the attention.
Yeah,
because it's a child, a small baby.
You're a good dad.
And you're a good dad.
So yeah, Angela, how about you? Anything?
I am still reading like way too much gay fan fiction. So it got really sad because last night I went on Tumblr and my feed, they'll like throw stuff in your feed and like recommend stuff for you. Sorry, I'm Domino's playing.
We're tending to our baby.
We're tending to Domino now because she was chewing on my swimsuit, and we're recording in a closet. So that happened.
I think the name of this episode should be "In the Closet."
In the closet. But yeah. So I'm reading. Oh yeah. So Tumblr. Sorry. So they like recommend stuff for you based off of your like previous searches and shit. And what came on my feed, I was like, "Are you shitting me?" It was Legolas and Gimli gay fan art, and it was just it like filled my like your feed, and I was like, Paul, like, is this who I am now? Is this who I am? Like,
I always like those moments when the internet tells you who you are now. Like, I'll go on YouTube and it's just like
what am
videos of guys grilling. And then Magic the Gathering videos. I'm just like, it sums up my life so much.
Like, what the fuck? Yeah, I was so upset. I was like, what? I didn't even, well, no, of course that's going to be a thing, but I never, like, looked for it. Like, that's not, I'm like, what is happening?
Who are you?
Who am I? Like, what am I right now? Like, yeah, and it was beautiful. There were, like, watercolor paintings of, like, Gimli and Legolas just, like, holding each other.
I think there should be an episode where you review the one that you're reading when it's almost done.
Oh, yeah, the last chapter is on Sunday.
Yeah, you should totally review it. Yeah, because what I like about, I haven't read it, but from what Angela
Like
told me.
6 weeks of my life.
Well,
And
no, listen.
chapter by chapter, it's so
That's
good.
pretty much what Rob and I have been doing with X-Men. Each week is a new chapter, so you're in good company.
So good.
But it's because it's kind of woven into like the MCU, right? Let's basically
Yeah.
Tony and Steve in between.
Yeah, so it takes place, the story starts like where the events of Iron Man 2 are happening, and like shortly after the first Avengers film. It's really good.
So yeah, so expect.
And it's written by a festive ferret. AO3.
Festive. Oh, is that like her
Yeah,
username?
that's her
Oh.
name.
I'm just imagining a festive ferret. Like I'm
love
imagining like a ferret in like a birthday party hat, just plugging away at the story.
Well, actually, I think that's what
I pictured too.
I think that's the picture of her like icon is literally like a hat, like a ferret, just being like, yeah, he might have a party hat. I gotta check, but
Or maybe it changes depending on what time of year it is because it is festive.
yeah. So I'm reading a lot of gay fan fiction.
And
So
then-
much so that Tumblr wants me to get into Legolas and Gimli stuff, and I'm like, that's not my thing, but I mean, it's cool if you're into it.
I know. It's like thanks for trying. You're close. I
Yeah.
appreciate the effort.
Yeah. But no. Maybe it's like, oh, blonde, pretty person with someone with facial hair.
Yeah, I don't know. But the internet, Tumblr has made its verdict,
Yeah, I guess so.
and that's where I'm at. So
And we're out of time, I think. So y'all know the drill. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Reach out and get some help if you need it.
yeah.
As always, enjoy your issues, and please come back for the next episode as we continue to cruise the multiverse.